Hello and welcome to the McTaggart Attack podcast. It's What's Pissing You Off Wednesday for June 30th, 2021. What's Pissing You Off Wednesday, where I react to whatever's pissing you off. I give you your chance to tell me what's pissing you off, and I react to it. I ask these questions on social media, specifically Twitter and Facebook. And this week I've got about 6 contributions from Twitter and 4 from Facebook. So let's get to it. But before I get to it, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review to wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe and like the video. Please. Anyway, let's get to this week's contributions. The first one comes from Twitter at MTP_Dallas. He's pissed off, or they are pissed. It's he, because it's Michael Phelps. Not the Michael Phelps, but a Michael Phelps. The fact that probation is even in the conversation for Derek Chauvin. He needs to be walked outside the court, taken to the top of the steps outside, and shot in the back of the head for all to see. Anything less than that, and you just empower the next killer cop. Obviously, this tweet came out before the sentencing, and the sentencing was 22 and a half years for Derek Chauvin for killing George Floyd. Not enough, obviously, but public killing probably isn't the best option here. You know, was 22 and a half years not enough? Obviously, but I am glad that probation wasn't an option, wasn't listed here. I'm glad that I'm glad that he didn't get probation. Can you imagine, like, if he had just gotten, like, 10 years, and then, like, probation after that, or just, it would have made things so much worse. But not that many people, people were still upset. The sentence was bullshit. It should have been a life sentence. Honestly. This should have been a life sentence. And 22 and a half years was bullshit. I don't necessarily agree with Michael's idea here to, just kill him in front of everybody. Because I feel like that does more harm than good. I think he needs to serve the rest of his life in prison and think about what he's done. Let him rot there forever. Because if you do a thing like the death penalty, I heard this on I'll Be Gone in the Dark on HBO. One of the victims was glad that that dude, that guy, the killer, just got a life sentence. Because if you do the death penalty, there's way too many appeals involved, and you're reminded of the case over and over again. This way, with a life sentence with no chance of parole, you get that closure. With Derek Chauvin, you don't get that closure. And that's a shame. And I do think this will not send a message to other cops. Not all cops are bad. Not all people are bad. But there are some bad people out there who are cops. Let's go to Facebook now. Leslie Zebrowitz is pissed off. Technology. Switched from Comcast to AT&T at work. Plugged our router into the new modem, or whatever the heck these pieces of equipment are. And the router is all, OMG, what the hell, I do not understand. That is frustrating how you go from, you just switched carriers, and then you're using the router. I'm assuming it's the new router that you got from AT&T, and you just like have to adjust all over again. It's a pain in the ass that you have to deal with that ridiculousness of the of that sucks. That just absolutely sucks. Um, that is frustrating. I hate having to redo the settings anytime we have new technology. I dread getting like a new piece of equipment. I dread when I have to like replace my laptop at one point because I'm gonna have to like transfer everything over and make sure everything still works and everything's still connected. And it's just a pain in the ass. And internet too. Internet too is so wishy-washy. We have pretty wishy-washy internet here sometimes. I think I have to like reboot the router. I have to turn the router off and on a couple of times a week with what we have with consolidated communications. It's just ridiculous. The crap that you have to go through with technology. It almost makes technology not worth all the fucking hassle. I like this one from Twitter, from Jim Culp on Twitter. People that back into parking spaces that aren't cops. That is good. I do like that. I do not like people who back into parking spaces, and I never made like that whole cop correlation. Like police officers do it when they back in. They back in a lot to their parking spaces, and I think that's acceptable. I think that's okay because that blocks out the license plates and stuff like that. I don't know exactly why they do it, but but it's fine for them to do it. It's fine to back in to a parking spot if it's like a work vehicle, like a police car or a construction vehicle for that matter as well. You know, but like if you're just a if it's just your everyday car and you back into the parking spot, you need to know how to park. You need to know how to back into the parking spot. If it takes you 5 minutes to back into the parking spot, don't back into the parking spot. It's ridiculous. Don't fucking do it. Don't be stupid. Don't just back into the parking spot. Pathetic. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's just you're just showing off. And if it takes you too long to do it, then you're doing the opposite of showing off. You're showing us how stupid you are. The next one here is from Shelby McDonald. She's pissed off that her pizza is now 40 minutes late and she ordered it 90 minutes ago. That's just awful. Like, the fact that it took 50 minutes, that they told you it would take 50 minutes for your pizza to get there. And now it's been 90 minutes and you don't even have your pizza yet. You could have put a pizza in the oven and cooked it for a shorter amount of time at your own house and had your pizza. But no, that's not what happened here. That's a damn shame. That makes me sad. I like pizza and I like to get my food on time. That's what I prefer to go out and pick up the food. When it comes to takeout or delivery, I'm takeout because I do not trust delivery. I'm sorry. Too many things that can happen. I'm a control freak. I need to go get my food. I don't want someone to bring my food to me because they might not bring my food to me. I'm sorry that you've had to deal with that, Shelby. I hope you eventually got your pizza. The next one is from Semi-Handmade on Twitter. They are pissed off at people who use the rate incorrectly, especially related to the pandemic, mortality rate, survival rate. If time isn't the denominator, it isn't a rate. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I hate when people don't use words good. It's annoying. It's not the mortality rate. That doesn't involve time. Right. It's perfect. Excellent point, Semi-Handmade. That is stupid. That's just stupid. And you hear that phrase all the time in the news, and they use that phrase, but it's not the right thing to say. Because it doesn't have to do with what they're saying. They just say the words because they're cool and we like them and they're wonderful and they make us feel good and cool, even though the words we're using are completely wrong. People are stupid. Here's another one from Leslie Zebrowitz. People who post questions, updates with their avatar. So a cartoon is asking where the best sushi is? No. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to use the avatar Facebook post. I hope that I don't. I have friends that do, and I respect that they do, and that's fantastic. But I don't see the point of trying to make myself a cartoon character. I think that's just stupid. Are you using the avatar because you're too ugly in person? Is that why you're doing it? Is that why this is happening? Is that the deal? I mean, go ahead and do that if that's the thing. If you like to do it, you think it's cool and everything like that. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, you're doing it because you think it's cool. You're doing it because you think it's the thing to do. You're doing it because, like, oh, hey, here, look at me as an avatar. I'm a cartoon. Isn't this great? No, it's not great. No one thinks it's great. The only person that likes it is you. Now, this thing is stupid. Use your own picture. Use your own self. Sure, you're ugly in person and your avatar is cuter than you, but I mean, still, just use your own fucking face. Nobody cares either. Nobody cares, nobody cares about the questions you ask because we're too busy looking at your stupid avatar. The last one is from Christian Bracken on Twitter. Not being paid on time. I hate not being paid on time. Fortunately, I work for places that pay you on time, that make sure that you fill out your timesheet correctly, that your supervisor fills out their time, approves all of the payroll and everything like that when they're supposed to. I've had it happen before in years past where we didn't turn in the paper timesheets on time, so we didn't get our overtime pay because the pay stubs didn't get turned in properly. So it messed up our overtime. So we didn't get it until like the next pay period. So I know how that feels not to get paid on time. But fortunately, I've been with places that since then they do the electronic payroll. And most companies do that. But I understand if you're like an independent contractor or you work for someone who doesn't have the electronic payroll or don't have the funds to even pay you, that's frustrating. That's so damn frustrating. But I'm fortunate that I'm not in that situation. But I feel for those people that are in that situation. If you're going to work for someone, make sure that it's someone that's actually going to pay you on time. And it's someone that's not going to pay you on time, then don't work for them anymore. Just stop working for them. Because it's not going to work out. Probably. I don't know. But yeah, if I can give that advice, if you're working at a job where you're not getting paid on time, then you need to find a job doing something else, working for someone who does actually pay their employees on time. Actually, I suck. I really suck because I only did 7, and I had one more Facebook one to do, and I didn't do it. So now I'm recording it a few hours later to add to the rest of the video in audio. So yeah, this is the last one for this week's What's Pissing You Off Wednesday. And it came from Facebook. It's from Jason Marby. And Jason is pissed off people that always say, I want to come to one of your shows, and they never do. I've lost count how many times people have told me that they'll come to my show, and then they never come to the show. I put on shows in the area in which I live. Co-workers, friends could come to the show, and they never come. They never come to the show. I've had it happen like one time. I've had one person show up to one of my shows. not counting relatives. One friend slash coworker that showed up to my show once, and they were drunk and obnoxious. Actually, I've had it happen a couple times where I've had friends show up and they're the drunkest people at the show. So maybe that's a good thing that none of my friends ever show up from one of my shows, because they'll end up being the heckler. But it is annoying when people tell me that, because I know it is annoying. It's annoying when they tell me, "Oh, I'm going to come to one of your shows sometime," because they never will. Yeah, I know, if you do the math right, this is only 8 videos. But let me tell you something. This is not the original outro for this episode today. I had to re-record the outro because when I said I thought I put in 8 I thought I did 8 contributions, 4 from Twitter and 4 from Facebook, but I realized that I didn't. And I thought I had everything recorded at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And now it's 9:16. And I realized that I only recorded 7 contributions instead of 8. So I just recorded the contribution that you just saw, and had to re-record the outro because it didn't make any fucking sense. I'm keeping the intro because I thought I was going to do 10 at the time, but then I realized there were 2 that I didn't really want to do. So that's what happens in this week's edition of What's Pissing You Off Wednesday. I still have a lot of editing to do, but that's what I do for the love of my podcast, so I guess I do love my podcast after all. The universe loves me, and I love the universe back. I feel better now. Anyway, happy What's Pissing You Off Wednesday, everyone. And that's the bottom line. If you smell what the McTaggart Attack podcast, available wherever the fuck you listen or watch podcasts, is cooking.